A very good morning to everyone. I welcome to everyone for this amazing learning session that we conduct on every Fridays. My name is Preeti. I'm one of the sales specialists at ProTouch. So before we start, let me give you a quick overview about us. ProTouch is a certification institute which provides upskilling courses to the professionals like HR generalists, HR analytics advanced certification, POSH, train the trainer to deliver POSH trainings, business analytics for managers certification, corporate trainer and facilitator, trainer trainer certification, certified practitioner coach certification, and emotional intelligence trainer and coach certification. We also provide customized trainings. So all the programs are accredited by the topmost bodies like ICF, SHRM, HRCI, CPD, and IBEC. I'm so glad to see many existing students, team members, and aspiring students of ProTouch who have joined this learning session today. I would like to know from each and every audience, what do you understand by empathy? You can please share your thoughts, you can unmute yourself, you can share your concern in the chat box. I would like to repeat my question. What do you understand by empathy?
Putting yourself in somebody's shoes and then understanding the situation.
That's really nice. What else?
Understanding feelings and emotions of others.
Thank you so much.
Understanding emotions and feelings. Yeah.
Nice. Lucia has mentioned in the chat box to understand other emotions as well as to respect also other emotions. Correct me if I'm not mistaken. What else? Who else? Anyone else would like to unmute yourself? Yeah, Umang, please. So sorry, I missed your raising your hand. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Preeti ma'am. Thank you for this opportunity. So I would like to say something different because for me, empathy is we should always behave the way we want others to behave with us. This is what the empathy means to me.
Great. Thank you so much, Umang, for sharing your thoughts. Any other thoughts on empathy? Nikhil has mentioned understand the situation and emotions of other person. Thank you so much, Nikhil, for sharing your thoughts. Now let's begin our learning session with Monica, Neha, and Upasna, our guest speakers of today's morning. I would like to take a moment to introduce everyone with our today's guest speakers. Monica, who comes with more than 5+ years of experience in customer service agent and currently working as a digital marketer with Accenture. Aspiring to become a successful corporate trainer, she has always followed her strategy to professional life think, plan, and then execute. Neha is a highly skilled and certified results-oriented learning and development professional with 4.8 years of experience in different domains of HR. She is committed to drive organizational success through effective training programs and talent management. Upasna is a corporate and a soft skill trainer holding more than 10 years of experience, where she has worked for more than 8 years into aviation industry such as Qatar Airways as a ground staff, and then later with Tech Mahindra for 11 months and accordingly few months with Bacardi. She has always dreamed of becoming a trainer. For that reason, she has joined ProTouch to enhance her skills and knowledge in training and development. It's our honor to have Monica, Neha, and Upasna with us today. Over to you, Monica.
Thank you, Preeti, for such a wonderful introduction over me and my other fellow mates. And yes, today we will just learn about empathy. What kind of empathy do we will study in that. So going forward to that, I'll share my screen and take the presentation ahead. So our topic is building empathy in professional settings, where followed as like presenter here, Neha, me, myself, Monica, and Upasna. Going forward, so I would just say grab your cup of coffee because this session is gonna be interesting. We'll let you know like insights of empathy, how empathy looks around with our social responsibility in a professional way as well. Okay, so like very simple question, how do you feel today? Just take 30 seconds and I would say choose a color between blue, red, yellow, and green. And write your options on the chat box. Blue, red, yellow, and green. Okay. So everybody is writing on the chat box here. Let me show you like how do you feel with the color instincts. So here comes, if people feel blue, like the people who have chosen blue, they are low with the energy and motivation to participate, I guess. And whereas the green indicates attentive and feeling positive overall. Whereas yellow indicates uncomfortable and need to focus. And red comes with full of negative emotions and may react harshly. So I just want all my audience to only focus at green, because today's session is really interesting. Whereas if like I would really ask you all just to be attentive and feel positive about this session. Going forward with this, here comes my first topic, definition and components of empathy. So as you mentioned before earlier that empathy is something feeling like what other person is feeling. Yes, as Umang said, like we want people to treat us how like we wanted to be treated, but then we also have to be the same way. So this really has a good impact of empathy. We need to understand empathy first, then we expect other person to correlate with us. Whereas if I will just describe that what exactly empathy talks about in three ways. Here is a cognitive empathy, which says, I put myself in your shoes. This cognitive empathy is nothing more but then it is an accurate way of thinking. Like we can understand someone very accurately what their thoughts and what their thinking strategy is while they are feeling some emotion, and we can connect to that person that way. So this cognitive empathy comes in a place, and we put ourselves into their shoes and go with an understanding and make them feel comfortable. Whereas emotional empathy is something that when any of our friend is feeling like crying, we understand like what exactly the person is going through. We sit with them. We understand their emotions at that point of time. And even we feel that pain as well. We under like it's okay sometimes to be crying as well, because sometimes people get healed from it. So this is what where emotional empathy comes in a place. Behavioral empathy is a mix of cognitive and emotional. Whereas if like when someone is feeling very sad about a day or something, and they are discussing something with us, where we just wanted to feel like, yeah, we get your point, but then at some point of time, we also feel like sharing our thoughts on that. Like for example, if one of my friend feeling bad about her day, and I see that this can be have a solution towards it. Like for example, she just went for an interview, the day was not good, and she just came and told me about this thing, like this was something that I prepared myself. We understand, right, like how it is like to prepare for an interview where we wanted to be, and we do not get select for some reasons, because somewhere that person who is interviewing feels like that we are lacking somewhere, we need to rebrush ourselves. So at that point of time, this behavioral empathy comes in the place where me as a person would sit with her personally and make her understand that this happens. This is a learning phase that of our life. And what we need to learn from it, that we need to be much more prepared for the next time. It's not never giving up thing. It's always like about learning. So behavioral empathy states more of like where you can have your own opinions to that particular situation. Whereas if cultural empathy comes in a place where you respect somebody's beliefs, where come to a religion, caste, what their norms are, we respect that person's caste as well, religion as well. We cannot differentiate between ourselves and the other person's religion, caste, where it comes to a cultural norms, because we understand that these days, like sometimes we hurt sometimes, like to other person when it comes to talking about religion, caste, because some people do not like it. They really have their own belief system towards their god, so we need to respect them. This is what my thinking is. So is there anything thoughts that you would like to share on this topic? Anyone?
Hi, Monica.
Yes, Pramita.
I completely agree with you. I think it's extremely important to be not only able to understand and respect other people's emotions, and but also to empathize with them. How and there are situations where the if I talk about me personally, sometimes without realizing, we, through our actions or through our words, end up hurting someone and saying something which, like you said, maybe about culture, about upbringing, because we live in a multicultural society. So sometimes unknowingly we do that. But it's extremely important to be respectful and conscious, and be a little conscious about the way we conduct ourselves. So that's really,
Definitely.
really important.
Yes, that's what, whereas if like there is an understanding towards these things where we just need to choose our words when it comes to be empathetic to the people, as we do not want somebody to hurt us, right? So obviously we have to be the same way with others as well. Correctly said. Coming to the next point, there is a beautiful quote by Meryl Streep which says the great gift of human being is that we have the power of empathy. We can all sense a mysterious connection to each other. Don't you believe so? We have all, everybody has this. Correct or no? This is a beautiful gift that everybody has within themselves. It's just that matter of like when we choose to be kind enough to people around. Okay. Here another topic comes. What is the benefits of empathy? Benefits of empathy helps to reduce our stress, which helps in a great of stress management. Okay, because effective communication plays very important role. We improve our communication on that part. It supports moral behavior to each other and also improves our working environment. If this comes under the place, obviously our work environment will also have a good surrounding towards us, where we feel like working, where we feel like putting our potential into a place. And it also boosts our social behavior, and which introduce a positive attitude. We become a positive person, and sometimes giving empathy to someone, feeling their sorrows and everything, it makes a person feel like that they have someone. In today's world, everybody, like after COVID, many of people have gone to depression, anxiety, such kind of things. But whereas if like there is someone in their life who can understand their emotions, everything is for them. Like they feel like connected to that person so much that you know what, they can go ahead, they can talk, they can share their thoughts. This is what, whereas if like we can be empathetic in that place rather than being so rude to them, and we can understand what they are coming from. Ways to be empathetic towards your loved one: be a good listener, don't expedite the conversation, just don't follow your thing like this is what I believe, this is very wrong thing to do at that point of time. The person only thinks that when I am speaking to someone, a person should listen. They feel happy when they share something about their personal issues. Show concern at that point of time, that yeah, you relate at that to their situation, and you understand them, that what they're coming from. Acknowledge emotions, replicate, don't be judgmental, just don't be rush to the place where as if like you come to a place where you are with your opinions. Yes, we understand, we have our own opinions, we take things differently as compared to other person, but see, every individual is not same. This is what I believe. Every individual has their way of personality that they carry along with themselves, so we need to respect them and try to help people as much as you can, because what else we need at today's situation? We need someone who can listen to us and can relate to our situation. Like even for 5 minutes, if I feel like just to call my one of my friend and think about like sharing about my day, it makes me feel live. Make me feel like, oh, at least someone is there to listen me. So this was all about my topic today. So I'll go forward, whereas if like my co host, whereas if like she will be explaining about self reflection for emotional awareness. Over to you, Neha.
Thank you, Monica. Apologies, I have been toggling between the screens, delay to present. Allow me some time to share this. Hello, everyone, and I'm glad to address you guys on the self-empathy part. So to begin with, or before I share my screen, I would like to, put forward a question to you. to when you understand empathy, when Monica explained empathy, you could all relate, or we could understand that we want to be good to others, we want to be supportive, emotionally supportive to others. I want to ask a question, that what do you do when it comes to taking care of your emotional needs?
Mm. Can I say?
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So what I do is I reach out to my loved ones and I tell them how I'm feeling at the current moment. And after that, I try to take out my space as well. So when I'm, managing my emotions at that time, I should not be hurting my loved ones. And I journal and I do meditate and I read a book. So that's how I manage my emotions.
That must be helping you, right? Like at that point
Yes.
of time, you must be
Yes.
thinking like, okay, I have shared my emotions to
That
my.
really helps. I'm not saying that I've been doing it since many years, but I've recently started like 6, 7 months, and it has helped me, manage my emotions in a very bigger aspect. It
Yeah.
is reflecting on how I work, how I want to work, how I need to manage my time. And one thing that she said is right, stress management. That is, that's how you manage your stress. Otherwise, it takes a second to go into a stress level that you can't manage. But if you can do it at the first right moment, then it really helps.
So I believe suppressing your feelings really can lead you to a lot of issues in life.
True.
Whereas if, like towards your personal life, professional life, you can't think accurately at that point of time. But
Correct.
then if you have to grow with the world around, whereas if like you see a lot of competition, people are doing really great everywhere around. So we just need
Correct.
to be like good with our mental state at that point of time. This is what
And
my
one thing I
perspective.
want to suggest, which I've been doing, is listening to the podcasts, any topic you want, self-help, inspirational, or, related to your work and career. That helps. And good music, I think that everybody does, I guess. Yeah.
Most of people on the chat says that they share their emotions with their mom, and
Yes.
I really feel that's the best thing to do. Like your if your mother is your best friend, she understands you really great, so you just feel like blessed at that point of time. Even I have that thing in my life. Over to you, Neha.
Thank you, Monica. I think there was some network glitch. Thank you, people, for sharing your what do you do. I think most of the people, we learn from each other, and we will get our ideas, as next when we experience it, how can we really tackle it in a best possible manner. I'm sharing my screen. So self-reflection is for emotional awareness. That means that it's a skill that helps you understand yourself better. When you reflect, it involves you being in your present moment, you experiencing mindfulness, you trying making efforts to be in the present scenario. Most of the times, what we do is we are in the either thinking about a past event of how we could have it could have been better, or was it better, or what can I do to make it better. And otherwise we are usually thinking about the future scenarios or planning ahead in time. I think our fast track lives of today, especially people living in the urban areas and working with corporates, understand that we try to just be ahead of time, we be proactive. That's the skill we have been brushing on in our day-to-day lives, and that's we forget to stop, we forget to reflect, we forget to give ourselves time. Hence we all you can always see people promoting meditation, all the health advocates promoting meditation or journaling. Those are all some small efforts towards being more taking a halt, taking a pause, breathing, knowing better what you're feeling right now, or being mindful when you're having your breakfast to start your day. So when you start focusing the attention inwards to examine your thoughts, feelings, actions, motivations, that's what we call self reflection, and that is what helps you attain that emotional state, right? There's a good quote from John which says that you can only understand people if you feel them in yourself. I'll just stop sharing and I would like to share a story with you to explain this point better. And when it comes to empathy, we are all human beings and we have our stories to with us, right? I will share my recent encounter with being empathetic and understanding the other person's emotion and how it helped me sustain my relationship, right? So when we are at the very first honeymoon phase of our relationships, we accept everything about everyone, the other person, right? We are okay with the flaws, we are happy about their strengths, and we tend to accept everything almost. But when the time passes by, when we start getting busier into our lives, when it becomes a normal, they become a normal part of our lives, we start taking few things like mental shortcuts. We start creating mental shortcuts. The first judgment that we had about that person probably dictates the other decisions or the judgments that we make about that person in the coming days, right? So we call them heuristics in terms of psychology. Heuristics are like best friends of our minds. Okay, it helps us not do much of mehnat.
I think we've lost Neha.
I think so. Neha, are you there?
I guess she must be facing some issues with connection.
Network.
No worries, I'll just go ahead with the presentation here. Whereas if I can go ahead with the topic. So after self-reflection, she was talking about you can only understand people if you feel them in yourself. As correctly said, we need to be empathetic to our own self also sometimes. We just can't give a bush to our emotions at that some point of level. We need to talk about ourselves as well. And then only we can understand people around. So the another topic which comes in a picture is managing personal bias in empathetic responses. Whereas if there are a lot of situations in a professional in social culture, whereas if we sit with people where we do not feel like counted, whereas if our efforts are everything what we place we do for our professional surrounding, and even with our friends where there has been a situation where we feel like I should have been appreciated, I should have been taken into consideration, these are my efforts and this should be accountable by in the professional stream and even in the social life as well. So have you been into such a state whereas if you have felt that you have done at some point of time really you have put your hard work into the place, but there has been a bias situation for you in your work culture or maybe in your social surroundings? Any story would be much more appreciated, so we can help you to understand how we can overcome with it.
Hi, Monica.
Yeah.
I think what I'm going to share is a little different than from your question. What I realized over time was that we unconsciously are the hardest on ourselves. When it comes to others, we easily, forgive or we are happy to give them chances. But when it comes to our own selves, we are really hard on ourselves. And that is something that I realized that I was, unconsciously doing. So for every small failures, I would blame it, take the guilt and then blame myself that, why did this happen? Or I could have done better. And for success also, I would not know how to, accept success or accept compliments. So I think apart from others being judgmental and, not appreciating or whatever, a lot of people, even when I have seen around myself, they are really hard on their own selves. Like they are okay with others making mistakes, but not their own selves. So this is something that I wanted to share.
Okay. Anybody else over here who would love to share about their experience about bias nature, like what they have gone through, what they have felt about it? I'll relate to your topic. Definitely, I'll come to this. So just wanted to have an experience from other person as well. All right. So I'll just take forward where bias is something everybody see around. It's nothing like even people who are working on a corporate level and on the topmost level, even if I'll say, I have been into the situation whereas if like they also discuss about their professional issues, and even in my social culture, whereas if like I see my friends when they also talk about it. Bias is a thing which is gonna be in every industry, every social place, wherever we go. But what can we do to avoid this situation come into our picture? Whereas if like if you feel that this is something that wrong decision has been made, that's okay, we need to just accept at that point of time. But then we can obviously definitely we can communicate with our superiors that this is what my thing, like in person. I personally believe like if there is any situation that I wanted to address, the best way is to have a communication rather than keeping it to myself, because that will build connectivity with that person, that will build that person to understand like, you know what, this she has addressed this, it's her efforts, and next time I maybe like not be in that situation, whereas if like I should not be biased to this person anymore. Where we address our concern, that's how our things are resolved. But then if we keep it, we keep a hold on it, we feel like it's gonna happen every time and you will be always be a part of it, because this is what you will just implant in yourself at that point of time. You will think all these things which are not even happening in that place. Maybe that other person who's got that opportunity have done much more better work or smart work as compared to you. Okay, that person, they must have seen something good in that. Every person whosoever is around you has some unique quality. So I believe everybody gets equal chances, but then sometimes if we get in certain situation of bias and we go around and see all these things coming to us, we just need to address that concern then and there rather than keeping to ourselves. Okay, so here this bias topic, whereas if like I would request Upasna to go ahead and take the difference between sympathy and empathy. What we do understand from sympathy and empathy.
Monica, if you don't mind, I would like to add something in your bias.
Definitely.
I think if you want to be very empathetic in bias also,
Yes.
we all need to own our own biases.
Yes,
It
definitely.
is very easy to point out how others are getting biased. Once we understand ourselves that how we get biased, I think we will be empathetic with other person also, that okay, once in a while I get biased, so other person may also get biased. So the journey starts from our own biases. Is there any person sitting here on this platform who has never ever got biased?
I think everybody must have.
Right?
Yes.
Everyone. And I think let's be empathetic about ourselves that we do get bias. Bias होना कोई crime नहीं है.
Yes.
But acknowledge that we may get bias sometimes, intentionally, unintentionally, both. But then why are we not empathetic to others?
Yes, definitely.
Right? So own your biases. I think this is a very important thing. Own your own biases and be empathetic with that. And understand the other person may also get biased. Go and have a communication with that person. Then, that person is biased. Sari duniya hi kharab hai, sabse acha main hu. I think this philosophy is not going to work and take you ahead in life. So it's very important. Own your biases.
Yes, ma'am.
The
As I said,
journey will start
communication is
from
the
there.
best key to have a one-on-one when we communicate. That's where we feel like, we at least we share our emotion. And definitely, as you said, we need to own our biases as well. We should not be doing to someone as it. Like if we believe that
We will understand. We will. And let's be empathetic about it, because getting biased is not a crime, it is psychological phenomena.
okay.
Right? It's a psychological phenomena. We may, but only thing is this, be cautious about it that I should not get biased. Because many times through such kind of talks, I feel somewhere the thought comes in mind that world is bad. World is not bad. World also needs to make a lot of decisions. Leaders needs to make a lot of decisions. And if the decision goes in your favor, you feel I deserve it. And if the decision doesn't go in your favor, you feel the leader is biased. I think that's not the right way of of putting the things. So my suggestion to everyone is own your biases. I think Anidya and Sridhar also want to say something. Let's hear from Anidya first.
Good morning, Aparna. And good morning, all the hosts. I thought what Aparna was saying, I was going to say that. What she was saying, own your biases, I will say it is all about the last session I did with you, the emotional intelligence thing. It's self-awareness. First, you become self-aware कि मैं क्या हूँ. If I don't know कि मैं क्या हूँ, तो मेरे reactions हरदम ठीक ही लगेंगे मेरे को. So we need to know what I am. So for everything like this, empathy, or when it comes to others, feels like coaching or training, the self-awareness is a very important part. That is what Aparna took up in a very concise manner, as she always does. But that is what I wanted to say. कि ये self-awareness wala exercise is a huge thing to do, and it is very simple but not easy. Generally, simple things are never easy in life. We इसको interchange कर देते हैं हम लोग. I was talking to somebody, but the simple things are the most difficult things to do. But when it is done, they look simple. So this self-awareness thing is really something to be worked upon. Thank you so much, Aparna. Thank you, Pasna, and all the other speakers.
Sridhar, over to you. Sridhar.
You're on mute, Sridhar. If you can unmute and speak.
Okay, the very common biases we see or we observe or we reflect when we speak or something is generally the gender bias, which first thing pops up. Gender bias, color bias, the bias over rich or poor, or urban versus non-urban people. So you have generally all these things are fed and we have lived those things. More of it's a more of a cognitive behavior pattern or psychology which we have in ourselves, which will act on us while we are doing an empathetic act to the people or something like that, or when we are giving some suggestions or giving some advice, everything. See, it is easy to say that you keep it aside, but the way we have come up, the way the society has shown us, we have seen in this society, the people around us. So we have made up certain mindsets within us. Very, very difficult to unlearn those things, but still, we should take this point that yes, that should not come in the process of things. So I think when you are doing an empathetic act to somebody, first thing you should write down on a piece of paper that I should not do gender bias. That means all women are weak. Okay, don't put that in your mind and then start your empathy. Or all men are bad, or men will be men. These are the certain things which are learned. So if you keep this in mind and start the empathy activity, already you put that shield in front of you that men will be men. Okay, this is a very, very common thing which is going on. Okay, so we should write down what are the things. Okay, this gentleman comes from a poor family. This gentleman comes from a village. Yes, we should make a note of all this, and we should consciously work on see that while we are doing that act of empathy, we should not put this. So if you write down consciously and then sit to the discussion of giving empathy, it will be easy. Otherwise, unknowingly, unintentionally, it will flow through. This is my view about it. Okay.
Aninda, you want to add something? Okay. Anindya, you're on mute if you're speaking. All right. Okay. So thank you for sharing that, Sridhar. It's a valid point. And just to conclude the section of biasness in terms of emotional intelligence or understanding others, I think as you know, Aparna ma'am rightly said, it's important to be mindful of our own biases. And you know, sometimes instead of telling us to not do something, it's better to educate ourselves of the we all come from a good you know, we have all our cultural upbringings and we come from a certain set of values and ethics that we have been following for years, and the other person also does that. So if we make an effort towards understanding where the other person is coming from educating ourselves towards the other opposite section, I may call it, because we have all put our the society is divided into a lot of sections. So if we understand that, it's easier for us to communicate, right? That's what we call stepping into someone's shoes. That's what usually it's there in the market, emotional intelligence, stepping into someone's shoes. That's not the literal meaning. The literal meaning is you educating yourself that what is the other person coming from, what are the values, ethics they carry, how can we marry the two, how can we come on a middle point so that doesn't really hurt each other, right? Over to you, Upasna, for sympathy and empathy. I will share this.
Thank you. Thank you, Neha. Thank you, Monica. So, there is a very slight difference between empathy and sympathy, and I would just like to share a few thoughts about it. So, empathy and sympathy are two traits that can be help you relate to others and understand others' perspectives in the workplace. While the terms are often used interchangeably, they are key difference. Whereas sympathy is ability to feel and caring, support of another person's situation, empathy is ability to recognize and share in another's emotion. So, like I said, that there is a key difference. So I'll point out few more differences between sympathy and empathy. As said, sympathy is having thoughts about what someone feels when in conversation, giving unasked advices, passing judgment, only noticing the surface level issue, understanding only from your perspective. So if you say sympathy is more of sympathizing someone and not giving them full empathy towards their situations. Also, it says that ignoring or suppressing your own emotions. So, unlike empathy, practicing sympathy doesn't mean you feel what someone else feels. Instead, you feel pity or sorry for someone else feeling. Now, if I say some few words for empathy, empathy says feeling what someone else feels, actively listening to what they have to say, not judging, being aware of nonsense or non-verbal cues, discovering their perspective, or acknowledging everyone's feeling. So, if I would like to say about my experience, I've worked in an MNC, and over there, I've worked for a US and UK process. So over there, if you do not empathize with people, or if you do not, you know, acknowledge their emotions or their difficulties, they can sue the company. So it is very important in nowadays to be an empathetic person. So I would just say that you have to be more empathize and not only sympathize. So empathy is ability to understand and share a person's feeling. If you are an empathetic person, you can listen to what someone else has to say without judgment. Now, there are few things in communications. As we say, there are two communication skills which can become more empathetic and sympathetic. So I would like to say there are two types of communication, that is verbal and non-verbal communications. As you can see the slide, it has like face-to-face communication, where what we say is 7%, how we say it 93%, tone is 38%, and body language is 55%. And if you can see another one where telephonic or email communication, tone of voice is 85%, and what we say in words is 15%. I would just like to give few more thoughts over verbal and non-verbal communication. Like verbal communication is more of words, sounds that come out of our mouth when we are speaking, including tone of voice and things like signs and groans. Whereas non-verbal communication, on other hand, is the sign and message that we are communicating using like body language, gestures, facial movements. And if we say more about verbal and non-verbal, like on verbal, if you use empathy in as a key to a relationship. So in verbal, it will be said as, if you want to be heard, you need to know how to listen. So put yourself in your listener's shoe and think about what is the kindest way to say what needs to be said. On the other hand, if you want to use non-verbal empathetic communication, your facial expressions are the way to communicate your emotions and reactions to convey empathy. Use warm, friendly, and genuine smile that reaches your eyes and shows that you care and appreciate your employee. Moving forward ahead, I would like to say that as we have discussed all our things on empathy, my colleagues has discussed. So I would like to just convey that there are few checklists. Okay, we can have an activity time. So we have few statements, and I would like to ask every one of you to join in this activity and just collate that how the activity is being done. So let's have our first statement, and please try to give us like how do we have it, if like on a usual response, you missed the deadline and this is unacceptable. Could you please help me, everyone, to give a empathetic statement on this statement? Anyone? Okay, Umang, I can see your hand is raised. Could you please help me?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Upasna. So here, first of all, it's very important for all of us to recognize someone's efforts. Okay. So we can say that you have done well. Okay. I appreciate that. We have lagged somewhere because of which we did not complete the deadline. But yes, we'll work more harder to get that deadline done. So this is the way when we appreciate someone's efforts, and then we are also putting our point. So it also balances. So I feel this is
Okay, someone else would like to comment over it? Okay, Samarpit says that, hey, you missed the deadline. Can you tell me if you're facing any problem in completing the task? How can I help? Great. So I would like to share what is the empathetic statement over it. The response would be, I understand that meeting the deadline was challenging this time. Let's discuss what obstacles you are faced and you can work together to ensure a smoother process in future. So we can use these statements for an empathetic response, like Umang says and like Samarpit says. Going over the next statement, you seem upset. Get over it. We all are. We all have our issues. Could someone help me with this empathetic statement to make it more empathetic? Yes, Sunita, I can say your hand raised.
Yeah. Can I try?
Sure.
Yeah, I would say that what happened? You seem to be, you are not your usual self today. Maybe talking about it will help you to solve some problems or get over the problems.
Great. Great. Okay. Sunita, please, could you help me?
Yeah, thank you so much. I feel that on that day we can say that you look a bit upset. If you don't mind sharing what's upsetting you, I would love to hear it. Because once
Perfect.
we listen to it, then we might be in a position to offer some solution. Or at least listening part is very important, I feel.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I can see few comments also. Like Ashish mentioned, we will sit together and start a conversation regarding the issue. Then Purnima says that what happened, is there something in which I can help you out? And Neha says, are you okay? Anything I can help you? Very great response. I would like to say in all of you are correct. And it says that I can see that something is bothering you. If you are comfortable, I'm here to listen. Your feelings are valid and we can find ways to support you. Great. The next statement. So, could you help me with this statement as well? You didn't meet the sales target and you need to do better. Please, someone, could you help me with the empathetic statement?
Better try next time, next month.
Okay, okay, thank you. Sunita, I can see your hands raised again. Could you help me?
Yeah, thank you, thank you. We can start with that. It's really good. You tried your best, but still you couldn't meet the. It seems you couldn't meet the target. So we can share the. If you feel comfortable, we can share the challenges you met, so that we can try to overcome them. And next time you are in a position to meet your targets, we can solve the problem together.
Okay. Anindya sir, could you help me, please?
Yeah, sure. This is a daily conversation that comes up in my professional life. So,
Yes.
but increase what I used to deliver is, see, you work, but it didn't seem to, your efforts didn't seem to have worked out the desired results. Please let me know how I can help you manage so that you are able to do it next time.
Okay.
Then sit down and talk. That is it. I don't take it very long, but I get myself involved कि मेरे को बताओ कैसे help कर सकते हैं कि हो जाए आपका काम.
Right. Umang, I can see your hand raised.
Yes, I really would like to go with Ms. Sunita and Mr. Anandya as well. And the first statement that we used, we can use that statement over here as well because it is also about the target. So we can empathize that person by saying that yes, it was little difficult to achieve the target. I understand that. Let's have a meeting and then we can resolve what problems are you facing and we can do better next time. That's what we can do here.
Good. Okay. I can see few responses also. Great efforts you made. Next time, try to push harder. Then let's focus on things where you are lacking. Great. Let's see what is the response of empathetic statement. I noticed that sales figures were below the target. It must be challenging. Can we talk about the specific challenge you encountered and explore strategies together to improve performance? All right. Now let's concluding towards our presentation and giving up a checklist of empathy, what we have concluded all. I'll just go through it one last time for empathy. So actively listen who others are speaking. Next is be fully present, minimizing distractions, appreciate and express gratitude regularly, offer emotional support to those in need, respect others' boundaries and privacy, recognize and celebrate achievements, handle feedback with care, focus on growth, foster inclusivity with valuing diversity. So I hope it was a understandable session for empathy. I would like to say that this was all. We are open for all questions and feedbacks. Over to you guys. Thank you so much.
You can stop sharing the screen.
Thank you so much, everyone, and the beautiful speakers for giving us your valuable inputs and all for in this today's session.
Thank you.
I think Sunita has raised a question. Any concerns? Sunita, would you like to share?
Yeah, pretty not the question, but I just wanted to give the feedback. It has been a wonderful session, though I logged in a little late, had some commitment, wanted to keep up to the time, but missed it some part. But whatever I've learned, very, very informative and a lot of insights. And especially what Dr. Aparna has said, that we are very good at judging others, that so and so person has been biased. But we forget to realize that at times even we do that. So self awareness is really important, and that works. So we need to work on that. Overall, very informative session. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Sunita.
Yes, Ajay, over to you.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. So thank you, Priti. So I would firstly say that it was a wonderful session to attend. And my question will be like, so everyone will be having some situations facing on daily, as we all know. So when we are trying to empathize with someone, so some people will be having opposing views or values. So let's say some people will be extrovert or some people will be introvert, right? So some people would not love to share some feelings. Some people would love to share, but not to the right person. So how to uh, face that? How to take up that?
Okay,
I would-
so
yeah, go ahead, Monica.
so thank you, Vasta. I would say like we need to respect each other. First of all, like as you mentioned, like some people are introvert and some people are extrovert. They can express their feeling, but people are who are introvert. We can give them their own time. I would say that. Like we can just make them comfortable. We can sit with them and be like, take your time. When you feel like to share, that time you share. But then if this is something that you wanted to keep up with yourself, that's still okay. But then we are still with you in your situation. We can at least address this way, so that person feels, yeah, okay, so this person has understand me where I'm coming from. And then even if I'm an introvert person, I can't share my feelings because some people feel subconsciously like what, low at that point of time, that no, this is something I wanted to keep it with myself. So we just need to respect at that those boundaries for people. Yes, Upasna, you can share.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you. That's it.
You have said it all. Thank you.
Okay.
So, Mom,
Ma'am, would you like to share something?
I think Umang want to say something. Umang?
Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Monica, Upasna, Neha. It was wonderful session, and it's not a feedback, but it's a one lesson that I have taken from today's session. The lesson which I've taken is planning our emotions are very important. Right? Usually we plan our day. We have to head into the office 9 o'clock. We have to take out at 6 o'clock, right? And I have to sleep at 10 o'clock, wake up 4 o'clock. But in that particular thing, we plan our day, we plan our strategies for our work. We forget to plan our emotions. When somebody responds to us, when somebody shouts on us, we keep shouting. We never plan. And I think this is one thing that I've learned from Rahul said himself, that sometimes we need care. Sometimes one needs someone to listen to. So listening is very important. That is what I believe and I've learned so far. And even planning our emotions. How do we need to react? How do we need to give remote of our emotions to anyone, or is it our own responsibility to take this remote? So I think this is something that I've learned, and I'll try implementing it from immediate effect today. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Umang, for sharing your amazing thoughts. Yes, Subhashri.
Hi, everyone. So, actually, this topic about empathy is very exciting and it was very well delivered. So, thank you so much for that. Something that I would like to share is I think new age managers should specifically learn about how to be empathetic to their teams, because usually what I have seen or what happens, I think managers try not to be very empathetic or sympathetic towards their team members because they feel they might break that the distance. I mean, that attitude that I'm a manager, I cannot say this thing, I cannot ask this thing. So it's like if their team member is asking for a leave because their father is sick, they will be asking, okay, when are you coming back? But instead of this, they should be learning to be more empathetic and sympathetic towards that person and ask, okay, how is your father? Do you need some help? How is the medical treatment going on? I think this in today's world will make a lot of difference, because the industry nowadays is all about competition and just the corporate culture, but the care, that personal touch is somewhere missing. So I feel this kind of training is very much required for new age managers especially. So that's what I was just looking to discuss.
Thank you.
Yes, I think we have come to the end of the session, and it was a wonderful session, everyone. Believe me, being empathetic is a very tough job. It's not easy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Sometimes it takes years to understand. Do you want to hear one incident? Yeah. In my young age, when I was working in sales, there was one girl who came to office one day and said, she was little stylish also. Okay. And everyone used to look at her in a very different way because, her lifestyle was different. Our lifestyle was different. So she will come nicely and speak very gently to everyone, So she said, sir, I need to take a leave today. You know why? Because my pet is not well. My dog is not well. And she used to leave office. Once she used to leave office, entire office used to laugh. अच्छा क्या हो गया भाई, कुत्ते की तबीयत ठीक नहीं है? ओ माय गॉड, यहाँ पे हम हमारी तबीयत के लिए नहीं छुट्टी लेते, ये कुत्ते की तबीयत के लिए छुट्टी लेते हैं, right? I still recall these incidents, everyone. But now when I have a pet and when my happy is not well, I do get disturbed. And I said, I cannot come to office because my happy is not well. It took so many years to understand what she must have gone through, everyone. And it is not easy. Let me tell you, it is not easy. So, when it comes to empathy, I feel many times people say, show empathy, show empathy. And I feel showing is not possible. Feeling is important, right? However, the steps to show empathy will be, first, show empathy. Second, feel empathy. And third, become empathetic person. It's a process. It's a process. And then we will have a habit. Second important thing which I would like to mention here, when it comes to leadership, when I was delivering a leadership training just last week, there was a question on being empathetic. Understand, every person will have a limit to show empathy at work because that person is also answerable to someone. I can understand that what you're going through. However, there is a business, there is an impact. A lot of things will come into the picture, right? So new age managers try to be empathetic really in a great way. However, the leaders will be answerable too, right? If salary doesn't come on time, will you be empathetic to the founder? चलो यार, 8 साल दी ना इसने सैलरी टाइम पे, 1 महीना लेट हो गया. Where is that empathy? So empathy is, I think, give and take, right? And everyone will have a limit. Am I saying if you leave me, if I don't pay you on time, you're right to do that. Yes or no? You are right. You are not here for empathetic feeling. You are here for money. In the similar way, businesses are here for revenue and money and will have limitations while showing empathy. One person can understand, second person can understand, third time person can understand, 10 times people can understand, not on 11th. Then we need to make a decision. I hope we all will understand this, isn't it? I think it's a big message, wonderful, and we need to have such kind of reminders every now and then when it comes to empathy and sympathy. Thank you so much, team. And I want all of you to put your hands together for all the presenters, and especially to Neha. Can we have a Neha on the screen, please? I think the most important thing that when we started training session today, that started with empathy only today. Because Neha was not keeping well. Neha was saying that I will not deliver it today. And I said, this is the platform for you. Come forward. Yes, Neha? Wonderful job. Wonderful. Yes.
Appreciate the opportunity, and I thank you.
Wonderful, everyone.
Very nice session, Monica, personally. Very good.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much,
I had a
everyone.
great learning
Monica and
what you shared with me. Yes, definitely. I'll make sure that what you made me learn today, I will definitely look forward to that thing.
Amazing. Sampreet, you want to say something?
Yes, Dr. Aparna. I
Go
wanted
ahead, please.
to add something. As we are talking about empathy, so I definitely agree that we should all feel empathetic towards others. But there's also a problem on the other end of the spectrum, because when you are too empathetic, you start feeling other people's problems, and we are basically what we feel. Our feelings and emotions manifest into our lives. So when we feel so many different emotions for others' problems, then our lives also start getting problematic, and like we just can't deal with the chaos. It's also another psychological problem. So how to deal with that? Like, where is the limit? We should feel empathetic, but how should we also be away from the problems that are caused by being too empathetic?
I think, we end up with only one question, mujhe kaun samjhega? Right?
Absolutely.
So that is something which comes, and, I learned one thing from Rahul. Rahul is here. That is 5:1. 5 times consider people. 1 time you need to make that person understand. I think that, technique certainly helps. And if the time comes, sometimes you also need to tell other person that, see, in these 4 situations I have considered, but now my limit is over. I hope you can understand. Because sometimes very easily other person can forget what you have done in those situations, right? So I think that is very important. I hope I addressed that question.
Okay, thanks.
I think we will take last input from Sridhar. Sridhar, please come on the screen.
Yeah, it was about the same thing that we term it as empathy burnout. Yeah, and we should the term
Wonderful.
used generally in psychology
Bumper
is
sticker,
empathy.
everyone. Bumper sticker. Empathy burnout. Yes.
Empathy burnout, and that's for which we should know our boundaries, and we should also cultivate the skill to disconnect ourselves after that empathy session is over and come back, because sometimes the problems from the other side are so grave that if you carry it home, you will get into sleeplessness, then you will have problems with your own family because you are still living in that particular mode and problem. Because sometimes, okay, not meeting your target, not having sales, these are all simple things, but sometimes people come out with grave problems, and you, in the process of giving empathy, you get dragged into it subconsciously, and then so it is very important to have that limit. After that limit, you'll have to say, yes, I've done my best, and still he should, of course, anybody has to come out on their own. You can only do your part of that job. So, and also after coming back, how do you unwind from that and then get back to the next part is equally important. Yeah, empathy burnout should not happen.
Absolutely, Sridhar. I think this is very important word, empathy burnout. And there are certain jobs like counseling, psychology.
Doctors,
and
counselors, yeah.
Doctors and
Yeah.
counselors face a high
We had
level of...
we had a very tough time during COVID.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Good point.
Yeah.
I think everyone looking at the time, it is, time to say goodbye to everyone. Wonderful session. Wish you all the very best, Monica, Upasana, and Neha.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for joining in, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you,
See you,
everyone.
everyone.
Have a lovely weekend, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.